Hello, welcome to our channel. Today, we will dive into a case that shocked the United States. She was a Ukrainian model who traveled thousands of miles to the United States to pursue her dream. She thought she had found a wealthy boyfriend, and with the arrival of their love's fruit, a happy life seemed to be just beginning. But unexpectedly, in just one night, she was murdered. The way the perpetrator committed the crime was extremely brutal, leaving a horrifying scene drenched in blood that enraged anyone who heard about it. The cruelty of this case could be compared to some of the most mysterious and horrifying crimes in the world. It is also considered one of the most heinous and vicious crimes in Los Angeles history. So, what exactly happened that year? Why was the murderer so ruthless? Next, let's turn back time and return to 2016 to uncover the details of this case. Los Angeles is a bustling city in the southwestern part of California, USA. It is also the second largest city in the United States and serves as a commercial, financial, and cultural hub for the state of California. Surely, everyone has vivid impressions of the mesmerizing blockbuster films from Hollywood. Los Angeles is the birthplace of Hollywood, where many legendary movies have been created, spreading worldwide and influencing generations of filmmakers. The story we are about to tell today takes place in this bustling city, famously known as the City of Angels. The main character of our story is Iana Kasian, a 30-year-old model living in Los Angeles. She had deep, expressive eyes and long, flowing black hair. She was born on January 27, 1986, into an ordinary family in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. Not much is known about her childhood, except that she was a quiet and kind-hearted girl. From a young age, she was intelligent and quick-witted. Her parents had high hopes for her, especially in terms of education, and invested a lot of effort into her future. Iana studied diligently and eventually graduated with a law degree. She then worked at the National Tax Agency, a stable job. Additionally, ever since she was a university student, she had a strong passion for fashion and modeling. After all, Ukraine is famous for producing many beautiful women and supermodels. This favorable environment provided many girls with opportunities to explore the fashion industry. Thanks to her striking appearance and excellent physique, Iana often participated in fashion shows alongside her full-time job. Although the modeling industry in Ukraine was highly competitive, she managed to achieve some success and gradually stood out. Under normal circumstances, with a smooth and fulfilling life in Ukraine, continuing to grow her career at home would have been a great choice. However, she was not content with that. Deep inside, she harbored a bigger dream. She longed for a grander stage and a life filled with challenges. The destination of that dream was none other than the United States. In 2014, at the age of 28, Iana finally made the bold decision to pursue her lifelong ambition. She officially set foot in the United States to chase her dreams. Her destination was the vibrant city of Los Angeles, known as the paradise of entertainment, cinema, and the arts. This was the perfect place for her to advance her modeling career. The sunny beaches and dazzling sunlight of Los Angeles also deeply captivated her. Iana told herself that she must stay and build a life of her own here. Thanks to years of experience on the runway, she quickly found work as a model, and her career gradually took off. Some reports suggest that she only managed to secure a job as a translator. Regardless, she soon settled into life in Hollywood. For Iana, the picture of her life was missing only one thing: a sweet romance. If she could find her Prince Charming, everything would be perfect. Fate works in mysterious ways. No one can predict when it will strike. At a party, a man named Blake caught Iana's attention. Blake wore glasses and sat quietly in a corner, seemingly detached from the lively atmosphere around him. Love quickly blossomed between them. They fell deeply in love, became a couple, and got engaged. Iana was very satisfied with Blake, not only because he was a wealthy heir, but also because he was talented and adored her completely. Not long after, they welcomed a beautiful daughter named Diana. To help care for her child, Iana invited her mother, Olga, from Ukraine to Los Angeles. To avoid disrupting the young couple's privacy, Olga rented an apartment near their home. For Iana, having a devoted fiancé, a lovely daughter, a home, a car, and financial stability, everything seemed perfect. A sweet and happy life had only just begun. But then, a devastating tragedy struck. On October 25th, 2016, a deep sense of unease overwhelmed Olga. She couldn't reach her daughter. Iana wasn't answering calls or replying to messages. Highly unusual behavior for her. Worried, Olga asked a friend to accompany her to Iana's apartment on Hollow Drive, West Hollywood. They saw Iana's car still parked in the building's garage, but no one answered the door, no matter how much they knocked. From below, Olga looked up at the balcony window and noticed someone inside, appearing to be a guest. But when she called out for them to open the door, the person acted as if they didn't hear and immediately shut the window. Sensing something was terribly wrong, Olga had no choice but to call the police. Two officers from the Los Angeles Police Department quickly arrived at the scene. After knocking on the door multiple times without receiving any response, the police explained that they couldn't forcibly enter the apartment unless there was an immediate threat. They could only contact the building management to obtain Blake's phone number. However, their call went straight to voicemail. No one answered. The first police report concluded there. Olga was growing increasingly anxious and desperate. She sent her daughter a message. "My dear daughter, are you still alive? I went to your home, but no one answered the door. Please reply to me. I know he's keeping you in there. I've called the police." Still, no response. With mounting fear, she reported to the police again. This time, after knocking and still receiving no answer, the officers realized the situation was serious. The investigating officer discovered that someone had indeed been inside the apartment. Iana's phone had placed online food orders at 1:40 a.m. on October 25th and again at 3 a.m. on October 26th. Security camera footage in the hallway even showed someone coming out to collect the deliveries. This was bizarre. Someone was inside. So, why weren't they responding to the knocks? Why wasn't anyone answering the phone? Neighbors confirmed they hadn't seen anyone enter or leave the apartment in 2 days. Based on the clues provided by Olga, police suspected that Blake had done something terrible to Iana inside the apartment. With no time to waste, officers rushed to obtain a spare key from building management. However, when they attempted to unlock the door, they found it had been bolted shut from the inside, making it impossible to open from the outside. With no other choice, the police forcibly broke down the door. The apartment was pitch dark. The officers cautiously entered, searching the living room, dining area, kitchen, balcony, and other common spaces, but found nothing. Only 2 rooms remained. When they tried to open the guest bedroom, they found the door blocked by a mattress. Clearly, someone had intentionally barricaded it. That didn't stop the police. After pushing their way in, they found no one inside, but they did find traces of blood on the headboard. A grim realization set in. Something horrible had happened. Rushing to the master bedroom, they found the door also locked from the inside. They kicked it down, only to be met with more furniture and mattresses blocking the entrance. A tense silence followed, until a deep male voice emerged from inside the room. "I'm not coming out. The moment I step outside, you'll attack me." The officers immediately recognized the voice. It was Blake. If they stormed in now, he could do something reckless. So, they didn't dare act recklessly and instead began speaking calmly. The police said, "We're only here to look for Iana. Nothing else. You don't have to worry." Blake replied, "My girlfriend is sick. She's in a nearby hospital." He even provided a hospital bed number. Of course, the police didn't believe this lie. But the problem was that Blake refused to come out and wouldn't cooperate. For Iana's safety, the police couldn't force their way in. Both sides were at a stalemate. At this point, a negotiator was brought in. However, this time, the person handling the negotiation wasn't a police expert but Green, Blake's friend and accountant. After a friendly conversation, Blake finally agreed to step out of the room. At that moment, he was wearing only white underwear and looked utterly exhausted. There were scratches and bruises on his left cheek. His arms bore multiple defensive wounds. Clear bite marks were visible on his left jaw and left arm, signs of a struggle. The police immediately restrained him and proceeded to search the room. As soon as they stepped inside, an officer shouted, "She's there!" lying motionless on the bed, no longer breathing. The person the officer was referring to was Iana. After the autopsy, forensic experts uncovered a truly horrifying scene. Nearly all of Iana's blood was gone. She had lost about 80% of it. Her scalp had been cut. One of her ears was missing. The rest was too gruesome to describe. The injuries on her head were unbearable to look at. The cause of death was massive blood loss due to torn arteries and veins caused by severe head trauma. The estimated time of death was at least 10 hours before her body was discovered. Forensic experts determined that after being attacked, she endured excruciating pain for hours before passing away. During that time, she was brutally tortured. The level of cruelty rivaled that of the infamous Black Dahlia case, the mystery of the century. Just thinking about it was suffocating. One forensic expert even said, "I've worked in this field for decades, and I've never seen anything like this." I doubt there are many forensic pathologists anywhere in the world who have encountered a case like this. This is an extremely rare and exceptionally cruel crime. The police also found numerous bloodstains throughout the apartment. Blood on the mattress, headboard, carpet, towels, curtains. There were traces of blood and hair left in the master bathroom tub. A bloodstained razor was found in the trash. All of this indicated that the apartment was the crime scene. Moreover, judging by the relatively small amount of blood present, it was clear the room had been meticulously cleaned. Using luminol, the police detected large amounts of hidden blood on the carpet beside the bed and in the bathroom. Based on the blood traces and the fact that Iana's body was nearly drained of blood, the police concluded that she had been dragged from the bedroom to the bathtub, where her blood was drained. The perpetrator of this horrifying crime was none other than her boyfriend, Blake. Even though he had washed up and cleaned himself after committing the murder, there was undeniable evidence. The bite marks on his body matched Iana's dental records. Tissue samples from under Iana's fingernails matched his DNA. A bloody right hand print on the bedsheet matched Blake's hand, with his distinct missing pinky finger. Blake's guilt was undeniable. But why did he treat his girlfriend so cruelly? Blake Leibel was born in 1981 in Ontario, Canada. He was not an ordinary person. His father, Lon, was a real estate mogul in Canada. His real estate company was once among the wealthiest developers in the country. Additionally, Lon was a professional sailor who had competed in the Olympics and was inducted into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. His mother, Iana, came from a wealthy family that owned a renowned plastic film company. Blake was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, with vast amounts of money at his disposal. However, wealth did not shield his family from troubles. When Blake was young, his parents' marriage fell apart, and they separated. Afterward, Blake lived with his mother, while his older brother, Cody, stayed with their father. Perhaps due to this separation, Blake's relationship with his father was never good. After graduating from university in 2004, Blake moved to Los Angeles. Although he could have lived comfortably without working, thanks to his family's fortune, he wanted to make a name for himself. With Hollywood's booming film industry, Blake decided to pursue a career in entertainment. Fortunately, he wasn't entirely without talent. From a young age, Blake had a passion for video games and drawing, and he had acquired relevant skills in school. In 2008, he worked on an animated short film called Spaceballs. In 2009, he directed a comedy film titled Bald. In 2010, he published a dark graphic novel called Syndrome. It could be said that during his years in Hollywood, Blake was far from idle. His career was thriving, and he had become an up-and-coming director and graphic novelist. Naturally, his love life was just as active. In 2006, Blake met Amanda, a model. Friends described her as a party girl because she frequently attended Hollywood parties. At one of these events, she met Blake. Although he also enjoyed partying, Blake often appeared to be a quiet, unassuming guy. This made Amanda see him as special and quickly fall for him. The two soon became a couple, but their friends did not support the relationship. One loved partying, the other preferred staying home. It was an obvious mismatch. In 2011, Amanda became pregnant, and they finally got married. Their child brought temporary joy to their family. However, their personality differences became more evident in daily life. Arguments became frequent, proving their friends' initial concerns were valid. Eventually, they separated but never officially divorced. That same year, Blake's mother passed away from cancer, leaving behind a $12 million estate. Blake assumed he would inherit the majority of her fortune, but when the will was revealed, he received only a few $1,000,000. The bulk of the inheritance went to his father and brother. This infuriated Blake. He even suspected that his father had forged the will. Though he tried to challenge it, the matter eventually died down. From then on, Blake hated his father, and their relationship became completely hostile. During this period, Blake met Iana, a young woman from Ukraine. Their relationship progressed rapidly. Blake hid the fact that he was still married. When Iana eventually found out, he lied, saying he was in the process of getting divorced. In reality, Blake did want a divorce. In July 2015, even though Amanda was pregnant again and about to give birth, he finalized the divorce and moved out. The following month, in August 2015, Iana also became pregnant. Everything happened so quickly, leaving no time to waste. After that, Iana moved into Blake's apartment in West Hollywood to rest and take care of her pregnancy. She was very satisfied with this relationship because Blake seemed too perfect, wealthy, and deeply devoted to her. He bought her a Mercedes, a diamond ring, a house, everything to fulfill Iana's desires. With a baby on the way, her future looked bright. She had achieved her dream of getting married and having a child in the U.S. In April 2016, Iana invited her mother, Olga, from Ukraine to Los Angeles to help take care of the baby. On May 3rd, her daughter, Diana, was born. To give the young couple some privacy, Olga rented an apartment near her daughter's home to help with childcare. Everything seemed perfect at first, but just 2 weeks later, Iana reported to the police that Blake had forced her into intimacy and filed charges against him. At first glance, this seemed to be the root of their conflict. However, the police believed this was not enough of a reason for Blake to murder Iana. Moreover, Blake's friends insisted that he had no criminal record, was a polite person, and had a vast fortune. There was no reason for him to destroy his future. After the incident, Blake continuously maintained his innocence, repeatedly claiming that he was not guilty. He even stated that science would prove his innocence. However, all the evidence at the crime scene pointed to him as the undeniable culprit. So what was the hidden truth behind all of this? After conducting multiple investigations, especially examining conversations between Iana and her mother before her death, the police discovered a different side of Blake. He was not the good man his friends described. In fact, both he and his brother, Cody, were frequent gamblers. Cody was the bigger player, practically a professional gambler. At times, his bets could reach millions of dollars. But in gambling, 9 out of 10 times you lose. Cody was no exception. In the end, he accumulated massive debts. Because of his gambling debts, Cody made enemies with people he should never have crossed. Blake even worried that his brother would bring disaster upon the family. At one point, Blake asked Cody, "Who did you borrow money from?" But Cody just laughed and didn't answer. Blake knew his brother had offended some dangerous individuals. However, he never thought those troubles would affect him personally. He continued to live his lavish life, enjoying his love with Iana. Until the birth of their daughter, Diana, when everything started to change. One day, Blake received an anonymous letter. The letter stated that he had to pay off a large debt for Cody, or there would be severe consequences. Blake started to worry, but he didn't want to get involved in dangerous matters. He thought that if he simply ignored them, the threats would go away. But then, the threats became more frequent. At one point, he even noticed a strange car following him home. Blake was terrified. He began to suspect that the person behind all of this might be someone he knew. He shared his fears with Iana. However, her reaction surprised him. She remained calm, even suggesting that he was overthinking. She advised him to focus on their family instead of worrying about things with no solid proof. Blake felt that something was off. He secretly started investigating Iana. One night, while she was asleep, He checked her phone. In her messages, he found suspicious conversations with an unknown man. The messages were not only affectionate, but also referenced some financial transactions. Blake felt betrayed. He began questioning everything about their relationship. Did Iana truly love him? Or was she just using him for his money? He also started to suspect that she was involved with the people threatening him. His doubts slowly turned into an obsession. He no longer trusted anyone, not even himself. The night before the murder, neighbors reported hearing a loud argument from Blake's apartment. The next morning, Iana was found dead in the bedroom. The police quickly arrested Blake, as all evidence pointed against him. But was the truth really that simple? Or was there still a secret yet to be revealed? Do you remember that we introduced Blake as a novelist? In 2010, he published a crime graphic novel called Syndrome. It was a gruesome and brutal novel. The book cover featured a doll with its scalp removed. The novel began with the sentence, "If you enjoy hurting others, what would you do?" and ended with "We all eventually become monsters," alongside a disturbing drawing of a large, scribbled hand. Coincidentally, Iana's death was nearly identical to a murder scene in Blake's graphic novel. The book contained an illustration of a woman lying on a blood-soaked bed with her scalp peeled off. Additionally, Blake's friends revealed that he had been obsessed with crime stories, particularly Hollywood murders, since childhood. Whether through films or novels, his works always followed this dark theme. Perhaps another motive for his crime was his desire to bring his fictional ideas to life. Blake had even planned to escape. After committing the crime, he carefully cleaned the apartment and hid $4,000 in cash along with his passport inside his clothes. If it weren't for the persistence of investigators and repeated police reports, Blake might have fled to Canada by June 2018. After nearly 2 years of investigation, the shocking Hollywood case finally went to trial. Surprisingly, Blake appeared in court overweight and out of shape. Clearly, he had been living comfortably while awaiting trial. He continued to insist on his innocence, just as he had since his arrest. During the trial, he even claimed mental illness in an attempt to delay proceedings. However, psychological evaluations determined that his mental state was completely normal. The trial lasted 6 days, with prosecutors calling 14 witnesses and presenting substantial evidence. Blake's crime was undeniable. The prosecutor stated in court that Blake's actions were incredibly cruel, and the level of violence he used was beyond words. Simply put, it was not something a human being could do. He had meticulously planned this brutal murder based on his own novel, Syndrome. A forensic expert testified that the case set a precedent for the sheer brutality and horror of the injuries inflicted. On June 26th, the jury took only 3 hours to reach a verdict. The judge declared Blake guilty of first-degree murder and other charges, sentencing him to life in prison without parole. Upon hearing the verdict, Olga broke down in tears. She had waited too long for this moment. She often held a picture of her daughter and wept, whispering, "I couldn't save you." Notably, although Blake came from a prestigious family, only his brother Cody attended the trial. The rest of his family was clearly deeply disappointed in him. The custody of baby Donna also sparked much debate. Although she was Blake's daughter and entitled to inherit his wealth, Olga was ultimately granted custody. Although Iana had wished for her daughter to grow up in the U.S., after her death, Olga could not afford to stay and had to take Donna back to Ukraine. Later, in a civil lawsuit against Blake, the judge ordered him to pay Olga $41.6 million in compensation for her loss and for raising her granddaughter. However, Olga stated that she had yet to receive the money. There were rumors that Blake's family reached a financial settlement with Olga, but the exact amount was never disclosed. Iana's tragedy might have been preventable. Her mother had sensed something was wrong from the beginning. When Olga first called the police was also when forensic experts estimated Iana had been murdered. Perhaps she could have been saved if authorities had acted sooner. One more chilling detail. During her struggle with Blake, Iana screamed for help. In later interviews, many neighbors admitted they had heard a woman's screams. Yet instead of calling the police, they chose to remain silent. This reminds me of another case I once told, the abuse of a maid in Singapore. Because of apathy and indifference, that Maid lost her chance to be saved and ultimately suffered a horrific death. The case ended with a life sentence. But was that truly enough to ease the immense loss suffered by Iana's family, especially for her mother and her now orphaned daughter? This story is not just a murder case. It is a wake-up call for all of us about many issues in life. It makes us reflect. Can wealth and fame truly buy happiness? Blake, a man born with everything in his hands, ultimately lost himself in the vortex of gambling, stimulants, and sinful desires. This tragedy also makes me ponder the terrifying indifference of those around us. Iana's cries for help were ignored. The warning signs were overlooked. The silence of the neighbors, and even the delay of the authorities, whether intentional or not, indirectly pushed Iana toward her tragic end. That is why, now more than ever, we must learn to care more about those around us. Sometimes just a simple question, a small gesture of concern, can save a life. Do not let apathy and indifference turn us into mere bystanders to the suffering of others. That concludes today's video. See you in the next one.